welcome to Tibara's Den, everyone. My name is Whitney, and welcome to the second part of my World Wildlife Fund video. So, if you saw Monday's video, we created the Sims that are going into this build, and we created a dolphin, Sims based on a dolphin, a jaguar, a green anaconda, and a macaw. And the inspiration from this build comes from Clare Siobhan because she did the Eco Paradise Shell Challenge. And so this is the shell that she created, and I'm just uh, putting my own spin on it. So I didn't delete anything. I know she was fine with like all the trees and plants that she had put down outside. She didn't care. It was just the shell, of course. The normal rules, you can't change any of the walls or anything like that. But I went ahead and I didn't change anything that she put down. I did layer over like some of the dirt and such for like paths and whatnot. But other than that, all the plants and everything are the same. I just added to it. But for the build, my inspiration were the Sims I created on Monday. And so mostly I tried like the outside. It's kind of a combination of both. They were partly my inspiration and then partly just trying to make it eco and just full of plants and life and whatnot. And so I went with like some of the eco wall paneling. And the floor, I can't remember if it was eco or not, but the inside floor is definitely eco-friendly. So right now I'm just trying to work on the outsides. And I put rocks around the pond, of course, and I'm going to do a bunch of plants. And I cut most of that out just, to save time because it was a really long video. The overall challenge probably took me about 5.5 hours. So quite a bit of time overall. But I do like how it turned out, and I think I did good kind of combining the Sims I created and their inspiration, especially for their rooms. And then you'll see some of like the colors and such. I was thinking I did pretty muted, like brown. I was kind of going for like a cabin in the woods type vibe, so if you were going camping in a cabin that was either in the woods or the jungle or whatnot, kind of that rustic vibe. But at the same time, there's also like a lot of color and whatnot in there. Just kind of going off of like mainly the macaw and like the dolphin, because I figure again personality wise they would like a lot of color and just life added to the place, where the green anaconda and the jaguar were kind of just be more a little bit more off to themselves and not really care about that, and they're not as interactive. So but yeah, so right now I'm just working on the outside. I'm going to put a bunch of plants. And you'll see I kind of cut ahead to the finished project because that took a lot of time, especially just placing them all around the foundation. I was trying to kind of hide the foundation like Claire did if you saw her video. I definitely think that would be something that would happen. And so I did like the ground level outside first, and then I didn't do like the side of the building at all until the end. And so now I have a nice little pathway. I put all my little plants around the pond, and so I'm just putting some dirt tracks, and then the trees, it looks completely different by the time I'm done. But I had a lot of fun doing this, and my inspiration is I figured, they would spend a lot of time outside, and since they are all kind of from warmer tropical areas, they would love to have like just a bunch of plants and just kind of a lot of cover, especially for the snake, the green anaconda, and the jaguar. Like they would want a lot of plant cover and trees. And just kind of places to kind of hide and be secretive. And the macaw, of course, would love trees as well. And the dolphin, I thought about putting a pool. I ended up not doing it, but she does have the little pond. I figure she might play in that. I know the Sims can't really play in it, but I figure, if she could, she would definitely play in that, and she can always go. There's a little bay across from her. I put them in Willow Creek, and so I put them close to water, a lot with that was close to water for her, so she can literally walk across the road and go play in the bay. So right now what I'm doing is just doing a path all around the property, and I just fill up the whole property with a bunch of wildflowers. And I figured, they would spend a lot of time outside, of course, since they are based on animals. And so I did just filled it up with wildflowers and kind of hedged it with rocks as well. And then I did several seating areas for them to sit in. And so up front, there's like a little picnic area with bird feeders and a bird bath and a little laundry area. I definitely did not do laundry inside. I did the line and the bucket from the laundry day pack. And then they would have other little seating areas where they could go and relax. So now I'm just filling it up with a bunch of wildflowers. And unfortunately, when I was taking the screenshots, I think I'm in winter right now. And so all the wildflowers are dead looking. But in the summer and the spring, they're going to look beautiful. And it still looks pretty cool. I definitely like how it turned out. I would love to live in a place like that, have a little path that was just overgrown on both sides and a bunch of trees. That would be my dream. And for the yard, I kept it pretty basic since I did do so much outside and around the property. The little yard that is there, I kept very, very basic. I didn't want to do too much, so I just did like a little garden area, which I figure would be mostly for the macaw, since, the dolphin eats fish, and the two boys would definitely be meat eaters, not, necessarily eating vegetables and fruits and such. So it definitely have a lot of like fruit trees and such for the macaw. And then, so she'd probably be the gardener, and then just a couple like lounge chairs, which you'll see. And so here I ended up opening, because I didn't want to just keep putting plants, so I ended up opening this up a little bit more and extending the pathway and the brick into that. And then I put several chairs for them to just sit around. And I think I put a couple more bird feeders and whatnot around that as well. On the decks, though, I didn't do like any seating areas or anything like that. And I built this before I watched Claire's review of some of the other builds, but when I was watching them, I noticed a lot of people put like little seating areas and a bunch of plants. I didn't do that. I did put planters along the outside, but I figure since they have so much space in the rest of the property, they wouldn't necessarily hang out on the decks. They might just go, stand out there and watch the ducks or anything, something like that, while they were drinking like their morning drink or whatever they would do in the morning. I don't know. I don't know how much personality from their animal side they would take on, and then how much they would integrate to the human world. I know for the girls, like I said, I had a much easier time with them if you watched Monday's video than I did with the boys. And I think just because, people do keep macaws as pets, and dolphins are really social with people as well. And so I think I had a little bit more time, kind of combining their animal selves with how they might act in the sim or human world. Where with the boys, I had a really hard time, especially because they're not social animals to begin with. I had a really kind of hard time trying to integrate how they would act in the human world and how much of their animal self they would keep. And so for the girls, it was definitely a lot easier, but I definitely don't think they would necessarily hang out on the deck or anything like that. They might just go out there, kind of look at the duckies, but past that, they would spend the majority of their time on the rest of their property. And I definitely loved the little ducks, and I got those custom content. They were little animated ducks. I'm pretty sure I got them from the Sims resource. So, and there's the animated chickens as well, which I haven't used yet. I haven't done a build that I thought a chicken coop would fit well in. So I'm really excited to do that. And I actually probably could have done a chicken coop in this build. Uh, that might have been something, maybe they eat chickens. Because I think I watch, not a sim YouTuber, but an animal YouTuber. He does reptiles, Chandler's Wildlife. And I'm pretty sure he feeds his green anacondas chickens sometimes. So I should have probably put chicken coop in here, but I didn't think about it. I didn't think they would keep chickens, to keep chickens. Like, I didn't see a point behind them, but now that I'm thinking back, it probably would have worked out well. And I could use my animated chickens and see how those look, which I know Claire has them as well. In her eco lifestyle series, she has the animated chickens, and I think they're so cute. And so I can't wait to use them, and I'm definitely going to be doing a farm build at some point, which I'm really excited for. But this week, Friday, I do my last episode of my mythical elements, and it's the final build for my spellcaster element. Definitely check it out. It is crazy. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it because I definitely think I got the element across and their personalities across, but I would hate it if I lived there or had anything to do with that place. So I'm really not sure how I feel about it, but definitely check that out on Friday. And then next week I'm doing my seasons. So I'm going to do create a Sims based on the 4 seasons. And they're all going to be in the same household. And then I'm going to do a build on it as well. And then after that, I think I'm going to go ahead and do the Rainbow Challenge because I've always wanted to do that. And I think it would be a lot of fun. And then I'm going to kind of get into different like stereotypes and whatnot. And I definitely want to do like a stereotypical farm boy or, country girl, something like that. So that would be the perfect opportunity to use those animated chickens. And I'm really looking forward to that. And so now I'm just kind of going around and make sure everything looks good on the outside, and now I'm moving into the inside. And this, I really wanted to keep around the tree open, and so I put the bathroom on the one side, and I was going to put the bedroom on the other side. But at first, I was, right against the tree, and I didn't like that. I wanted to have that half wall open. And I was going to give them each their own room and just do 4 rooms, but I decided I didn't like that either. And so I ended up doing the boys are sharing a room and the girls are sharing a room. And then the entrance way to the rooms I kind of cut in a little bit, and so the tree's open. And so I had to fix the tree because doing the full wall, it ended up, when I deleted it, it deleted the little portion of the tree. So I had to fix that to how it was originally. But then I think it worked out well. And I like how the rooms turned out too. And I didn't think they would spend a whole lot of time. And I kind of tried to get the animal vibe across, for different ones. Like for Dolly Dolphin, I did grays. And for the macaw, I did a lot more bright colors. And I think the best one, other than his bed didn't really fit, but I found the perfect rug for the jaguar and then the anaconda. I just try to go with the same color theme for them. And then past that, everything's pretty basic, except there's a ton of animal paintings. I like that I had the dolphin paintings from the Sulani to put up for the dolphin because I thought that was perfect for her. But trying to find different animals that fit, so I just put all kinds, like some of the horse paintings. I can't remember if the horse paintings are custom content or not, but you'll see all what I put up. And I did put some pictures of like plants, but I had several horse paintings and I put them up just because I wanted to fill up the space with different animals. And then the kitchen, the bathroom's very rustic and I really like it, but I do put some like the red towels and like a red laundry basket and such because of the macaw. So that splash of color in there. Past that, it's very rustic looking. And then the kitchen's kind of a combination. So like the stove and the fridge you'll see are extremely rustic looking, but then the counters are from Jungle Adventure. and are just very bright. And here I thought about putting like little windows in so that way their rooms didn't feel so closed in. But unfortunately, it wasn't working, and I didn't like how it looks, so I ended up deleting them. But I thought it would be really cool for them to have, but I wanted to be able to close them too. But then I was like, well, then I won't have any room for like a little living area or anything like that, or be able to put anything on the walls because of the windows. So I ended up deleting them, but that would have been a really cool idea, and I'd probably do that for a build in the future at some point because I always thought that would be cool, to do, have a room where you can open your window up and look out even when you're in the room, like not an outside window but into the rest of the house. But it just didn't quite feel right for this build. So originally I was gonna go with a shower, but the tub from, I think it's Strangerville, I really liked how it looked, like kind of that do-it-yourself vibe, cabiny vibe that it gives off. So I ended up going with that, and then of course like the little wooden outhouse toilet and wooden sink to get that, just like I said, kind of rustic vibe. And I did do like the eco floor, and I don't know. I don't know. I was trying to combine like rustic, like what I think of, kind of eco-friendly, which when I think we grew up going to the mountains and, going camping in a cabin, and that was kind of our, as eco as we got living in the city. Well, not the full city, more like the suburbs, but, we didn't get full on eco with anything else. Like we were definitely not close to nature or anything like that, so that was the closest we ever got. And so that's kind of the vibe I was giving off, again, like cabiny, rustic cabin type vibe, um, but also trying to add in the personality of the different animals, which again, I don't know how well I did on that. So, but other than the macaw, it was actually really hard to, you know, get the animal vibe across in the build itself. So if you think I should do something like this again in the future, to maybe do an animal and do a build off of them, definitely let me know. And let me know what type of animals you would like me to try, and I'll see if I can maybe do a little bit better at it. But overall, I still like how it turned out. And I was watching, after I watched Claire's reviews on some things, I did put a TV in, and I also put like a little desk and computer in. But we used to have a cockatoo, and she loved watching the TV and like listening to music and such. So I think it still kind of goes overall. And even dolphins, they're very interactive. So I think that, a dolphin as a human would still really like, that interactive aspect. So I still think it works, even though she was deducting points because it wasn't as eco-friendly as it could have been. I think it really works since I was going for these specific animals. But so here you'll see I do the, I guess, teal color, and I did that because of the macaw. I really, like I said, I don't think she would have been happy in such a drab world. So the kitchen and the living room are very bright, and then her little space in the bedroom is bright as well. And I put a bunch of plants, and I try to find plants with red, and you'll see the in a little while. But I try to put plants with red, just that added splash of color. And again, she was the main kind of inspiration behind it. And I do skip over that part because again, that that takes a lot of time. Placing them, raising them up, and then adjusting them just right to fit. But I really like how it turned out. And so you can't see it very good here, but you will see it in the screenshots. And I put a little red planter, the larger one in the corner there, and just some fruit down, and some bread, and then a little drink tray. Pretty simple. And I do put a little dining room table in there for them as well, for them to kind of eat and socialize. But I think they would probably, whenever the weather permitted, they would definitely probably be outside at the little picnic table eating. out there for sure. But I do like how it turned out. I would live here. I, I like how it turned out, but then again, I'm a little bit weird. So, and every time I was watching a review, I was like, ooh, I should have done that. Ooh, I should have done that. But I'd already done the build at this point. And like everybody else, I forgot to do the walls that were up top. And so my walls are naked, and you'll see that in some of the pictures, unfortunately. But I forgot all about them as well. But a lot of people did, so that didn't make me feel too bad since I wasn't the only one who forgot about it. And I love this little area. The tiny living little TV thing was perfect for it. And then I think the Nifty Knitting little poofs here, pretty sure they're from Nifty Knitting, but they worked well, and like I said, just kind of bright and vibrant and very much the macaw's color scheme in here for sure. But I mean, you can't really, unless I went like with full green or spotted or grays for the other animals. I think the macaw was definitely easiest to get the color scheme across, for sure. But I don't know. I had a lot of fun with this. And I haven't done shell challenges before. I watch them all the time. I watch people do them all the time on YouTube, but I haven't done them at all. And so it was a lot of fun. But like I said, when it was for the World Wildlife Fund, I'm a huge animal lover. And I was like, yes, I have to do that. And then I was like, how can I integrate it into kind of what I'm doing with my channel and my save file so I can put them in there. And so I wanted to create the Sims as well to go in this build. It worked perfectly. And I do like how they turned out. So, especially watching them, because at the end you'll see I kind of placed them in the build and played with them a little bit. And watching them interact with each other, I really like how they turned out. Because sometimes when you do, what kind of wacky Sims, they don't seem to really fit in the world. And they seem even more fake than they already are because they're Sims, so they're not real anyway. But I do like kind of a little bit of realism there. And like I said, how they turned out, I really liked watching them interact, and it seemed to work based on what I was going for. And so again, I just try to find things, that maybe match the color scheme, not necessarily made me think like dolphin, maybe water or something, but really just match the color scheme. And I put carpets that it kind of made me think of their different animals. But pretty much the rooms are the same. I do 2 beds, the little side tables, 2 dressers from Tiny Living. I just changed the color based on the animal, and then a little mirror. And then in here I put a few little hanging plants as well. I don't think I did that for the boys, but and each room has a door that goes out to the patio, so I had to be careful not to block that. And I really wanted to use these 3 candles, but I had to shrink them down to make them fit, and then they were just wonky. So I ended up going with the single one, I'm pretty sure. I think I went with a different one, though, for the Dolly Dolphin. And I did for the macaw, too. I didn't remember doing that. But the boys, I'm pretty sure I used, like, the single little lotus flower candle looking thing. But the girls, obviously, I did something a little bit different. I just didn't remember doing that, so it's a lot. You forget. And then putting up the little dolphin posters. But it's hard to kind of find. That I put up because it has a little birdie on it, so I thought that worked for her. Even though it wasn't like a tropical bird or anything like that. It was a bird, so I put that up, and I didn't put anything above the boys. And then again, just trying to do carpets that were kind of bright and for the macaw, and then the gray tone. And that carpet does kind of look like maybe like a little bit of waves. And then for the green anaconda, I tried to just do a green carpet, but I like that one, a little bit more pattern to it. And then I did the leopard print carpet, of course, for the jaguar because it worked the best out of any other carpet. Kind of get that across, even though it's leopard print and not really jaguar. I think a lot of people get them confused enough anyway, and they're similar enough that it works. So, and for their beds, I think I was kind of getting tired at this point too, so I just kind of again tried to go with something. And I don't know why I went with that bed for the jaguar. I don't think it really fits jaguar. Makes me think jaguar, but it's already down and it's in there at this point, so I'm not gonna go back and change it. But I think I was kind of getting tired at this point and just wanted to be done, which, like I said, in the past I haven't had a lot of patience for builds, and so I am proud that I'm doing more and paying more attention to detail, but I have to get better at making sure I do that detail all the way through instead of, I spend so much time on the outside and then, like I spent a lot of time on the kitchen and putting those plants in that I just get impatient and just want to be done and I don't follow through. So that's definitely something I'm hoping to get better at. And so now I place the planters on the outside and I'm just placing some of the hanging plants that go down. And I didn't check, and so you'll see in the pictures because they have like a board on the back that ends up clipping through some of the windows, unfortunately. And like one of the pictures you'll see, it actually looks good. And I liked how it clips through, but it doesn't do that consistently. So I might go forward in the future and make sure I do that. But I'm going to go ahead and do a mini walkthrough with this camera, and then there are a bunch of screenshots. So, of course, the front of the house, and then this is their little picnic area. So they have the laundry, the bird feeders, and then the little picnic and grill area. And unfortunately, all the flowers are dead, which just made me so sad. And then they have this little seating area here, and I love this romantic garden thing to put in, and then a little seating area with some bird houses, and then just a little path to follow around and walk through, and then the little pond. But I really liked how this turned out. And of course I didn't show you guys the duckies in the pond. But maybe if I play with them or do any like sort of let's play with them, I'll definitely show you that. And so this part, it's just really quick, and you can see I forgot to do those top walls, and so they look a little off. But I just did a really quick one through. But I want to include it in here as well. And so you can see it's clipping there as well. Ugh. But I will get better. It's just that little attention to detail and me getting impatient. I will definitely get better. And so this is the girls' room, which I like how it turned out, and the boys' room too. But there is the boys' room, and it's pretty basic. And then of course, very basic on the deck. And then you come in from the back door, and you have your little living room and your little kitchen area, which is really cute. I like this probably the best, and the little dining area. And then you come out to the yard, and there's no exit from the yard, so you have to go around the front if you want to go fully out. And so I'm going to leave you guys there. Have a good one, and we will see you tomorrow with a Journey to Batu video. Bye, guys.